Welcome to Roots and Branches of Lehi, the podcast where we get to know the faces, stories, and lives that make up our community. I'm Ryan Harding, and I started this podcast as a way for us all to connect with the people we live alongside. Growing up in a small town, I learned that connections go beyond blood. They're built through shared experiences, friendships, and the moments we celebrate together. Each week, we'll sit down with someone new from Lehi to share their unique story, their passions, and what they love most about living here. So whether you've been here for years or just arrived, join us as we deepen our roots and reach out to our branches one story at a time. Welcome, Julie, to Roots and Branches of Lehi. Happy to have you here on the podcast where we get to know you and get to know your business, and glad you're able to come. So
thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. So talk to me. Give me a little background of yourself, I guess, first. So originally from Lehi, where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
Yes, I'm from Lehi. I was born and raised here, and I grew up right there at 45 West Main Street, the cute little pink house.
Yeah.
It's a historic home and one of the first adobe homes built in Lehi.
Wow.
And it was a great place to grow up right on Main Street. There was a lot happening, and I got to learn about all the business owners on the street.
Yeah.
Had a lot of friends there, and all through growing up, and know their families, and Lehi has a lot of great family businesses. So yes, I grew up here, went away to Dixie College after high school and up to Utah State. Then I took a break and went out to New York and was a nanny. Okay. And that was a lot of fun. Sure. And ended up back at Utah State, and then had an adventure in California. And after a conversation with my mom, she said, I need a new manager, because our other manager has moved to Gunnison, where they've built a new prison, and her husband works there. And I said, after a week or two, I called her back and said, Mom, I'm ready to come home. I'm ready to work at the Bridal Center long term. Good. So that's how it started for me.
And so your mom had started the Bridal Center. So, this was a family business, right?
Yes.
And so give us a little background of that, I guess. Talk to me about, when did it start?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so my parents were married in 1957, and they lived just a block down in the house on the 100 South corner that's decorated so cute for Christmas. All the lights. Yeah. Looks like a gingerbread house. It's adorable. They lived in an apartment there. Alvin Scow, who was the local banker, owned that, and they rented there. And my dad saw the property on Main Street, and he said, I think that'll be perfect for a barber shop. And there was the home and the building there. It was built, the Bridal Center was built as a bakery. Oh. And then my dad purchased that property, and he opened his barber shop in 1959 in the front, and my mother was sewing in the back room. Okay. And she was sewing scarves, and they were sending them all over the western United States, she and some friends, and they had clothing, ready-to-wear clothing and formal gowns in the back there. And when my dad left in the late 60s, he went up to Salt Lake to do a business. She expanded into the front of the building, and so we were calculating the business started in 1964, and she was doing ready-to-wear clothing in the front. She was custom making bridal gowns in the back, prom dresses and bridesmaid dresses. And she decided that the date of her business opening was 1964, which would have been the year before I was born. Yeah. But fairly recently, 7 years ago, after her funeral, I went back into work, and a sweet lady came in the store, and she said, I'm looking for some button loops. I wonder if you have any button loops. And I said, well, I can check. I said, I probably don't. And she looked around, and then she said, the cutest lady made my dress, my wedding dress. And I said, really? I said, that cute lady would have been my mom. Yeah. And she's recently passed away. This was the conversation in 2017. And I said, out of curiosity, when did you get married? Yeah. She said, I got married in 1961.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So the business started before my mother even remembered. She was making bridal gowns and prom dresses and everything back then. Wow. So it's a great family business, and growing up in it, I I noticed that I came today with a pin in my sweater.
Uh-huh.
There's always a pin in my shirt or my sweater because I've just altered something and I tuck it in my sweater. So she taught me how to sew, but when I was that little girl, 3 years old, I was crawling around the floor picking up pins for her.
That's awesome.
And then she taught me how to use those pins and make beautiful articles for beautiful people.
Yeah. And you said, so you grew up though at the store, at the house by the store then, or cause,
Yes.
yeah, go ahead and
there's
tell
a
me that.
breezeway between the house and the shop,
Okay.
the store. And so we'd just go out the back door of the house and into the back door of the shop. And my mom would be in there sewing sometimes till midnight, 1 in the morning. I'd get dropped off after dates about midnight, and I'd wander into the shop, and there was my mom sewing and listening to whatever the late night murder mystery show was on KSL.
Sure.
We'd finish that and go into the house, and she'd be done with her projects that day.
So when your dad bought that store, did he also buy the house then with the store, I guess?
Yes,
So
because it's fairly connected. The one wall is right up against the other. So he bought the house and the store and a nice garden spot where we always had a big, beautiful garden. So it was so convenient. We could be there where our parents were working. We grew up at work. It's just like one of those great Italian restaurants where they live
upstairs
and come down and cook, and the family's all there.
Yeah.
We were doing that with projects. Everyone in my family knows how to run a sewing machine, even my oldest brother.
Wow.
He was operating a sewing machine. Yeah, just life.
I'm curious, was Main Street, because obviously Main Street now, you do see some of these older homes and stuff like that, but you also see just a lot of buildings, right? Like this one we're in and stuff like that. What was it like back then? What was Main Street like back then? Was it a lot of, were most of the businesses like yours where it was kind of, hey, we live and work in the same place? Or was yours different, similar? Were there others? I'm just curious. What was it like?
Well, I would say Haas Floral down here, his grandparents lived next to it. And his family home was just down a block. I know the Tucketts had an apartment above the bakery. I don't know of anyone who has lived right at their business.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there was, back in the day when Main Street was very small.
Sure.
This community was really small. When I graduated from high school, there were 6,000 population, and we all knew each other.
Yeah.
We knew, oh, you live on the north end of town, you're on the west end,
Yeah.
the south or the east, and it was great. But Lehi Main Street, there's always been these two historic blocks that are unique. This is where these businesses were built early on, and even though the businesses changed, there were always families that lived nearby, I guess I would say. I'm thinking about Penny's. The Penrod family just lived a block and a half, and Harvard Hinton was the attorney, and he was in the office building that the Wilson architect that he owned, and I'm not sure if that's being rented out or if he's still there or not, but there's been a lot of family connection, and down the street, I joke because growing up right here on Main Street, this is my front yard. This is the heart of Lehi. This is where it started, here and in the surrounding farms. And I knew the proprietors on the street, and I knew their names, and I would come across and visit with them. And there was, where we're sitting today was the hardware building, and it was a beautiful building. And the man who took care of that building at the time that I was in elementary school, his name was Oral Pendleton.
Okay.
And I couldn't say oral as a kindergartner, so I said Orla. And I would walk home from Lehi Elementary School, and I had been instructed to get across this busy street, and this was 1970, to go in and get Oral, and he would walk me across the street. Oh. He and my dad and two other couples had season tickets to BYU games, so he was a family friend, and all of the business owners were friends. Oral would give me a little butterscotch candy out of his pocket and walk me across the street, and he would even tell his customers, just a minute, I need to take care of this little girl. He'd walk me across, and I'd run down and in the front door of the shop, and it was a great place to grow up. So many wonderful business owners and people, yes. It's a great place. So lots of family businesses here, generational businesses. It's a great place to live.
It is a great place. I agree. So going back to, the bridal shop, what motivated you to take that over? Why'd you, I mean, I know you said you were in California at the time and your mom, but was that, was that an easy decision? Was that something that you were like kind of in the back of your mind always thought, or give us a little background on that?
Okay, well, she taught me how to sew very early. 8 years old, I was on the machine, and there was an organization, the National Lamb Growers of America, had the Make It Wool. They sponsored the Make It with Wool contest, and so it was through the high schools, and we would make articles of clothing, and so she taught me how to make a vest and a skirt. Okay. That was the first thing, and then she taught me how to tailor a suit. And if somebody can tailor, then they can sew pretty much anything, because tailoring is like opera is to singing. Oh, it's the technical end of it. Yeah. So she taught me how to sew, and then I went away to college and worked in costume departments, and because I enjoyed it, it had become something that I knew I could do, and the more you do of something, the better you get, and it was just enjoyable. So then when she said, hey, I'm looking for somebody to take care of Lehi, she had a second location in Provo, and so Lehi, we're saying, has been open 61 years, 51 years we've been in Provo. Okay. So she was managing Provo and would drive to Provo every day. And so I said, yeah, Mom, I'll come do this. And at the time, we had a huge cutting table, and all the walls were covered in fabric and notions, and we sold those items. And then House of Fabrics opened, and then Joann's opened, and we didn't sell fabrics as much, but we were making custom dresses, bridesmaid lines, prom dresses, wedding dresses, and it was intense, and it took a lot of work. The industry changed, and so we ordered more dresses. We requested all varieties of levels of modesty. Okay. And coverage, I like to call it. So we've always carried strapless dresses, spaghetti strap dresses, but the industry was really lacking in dresses that had shoulders and sleeves. Okay. And so we would look at the dresses and say, this would be a great dress if you
just had some sleeves.
Just put some sleeves on it, and something that's fashion forward and beautiful. And so in the industry, the manufacturers started to listen and wanted specifics. And so my mother would even illustrate something like this, or if you did this neckline on this dress and this sleeve. So she was really designing and helping the manufacturers understand something beautiful and fashion forward and something desirable. So I had come back from California, and I was working here, and Lehi has done the Halloween Main Street trick or treat. Yeah. It's really fun. Have you witnessed it?
I have witnessed it, yes. Yes, I have.
It's so great. So the Hutches were so good to start that and get the businesses along the street involved. And I'd love it if every single business was out in front of their store doing it, because the kids love it. And now it's so big. Yeah. It went from 200 people to now 1,700 or something. Wow. But it was during that time that I looked across the street and saw all the kids, and it was so fun. And this being home and having grown up, I was gone 9 years doing college and adventures and whatnot. Sure. And I just thought, this is where I want to raise my family. This is where I want to be. And fun little story. I went to my little sister's basketball game at the high school, and a kid I'd gone to school with was there watching his little sister play on the basketball team. Oh, yeah. And so he came over and talked to me, and then asked me out on a date, and the next thing you know, 6 months later, we're married. And
great.
He said, I rented an office on Main Street, and at Halloween, when you were handing out candy, I saw you across the street.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wondered if you were married or available, and it took from Halloween till the end of January before we talked, and
Sure.
because he didn't walk across the street to talk to me, but
That's awesome.
but I enjoyed being with my mom and doing what I was doing. It's very tactile.
Sure.
Fabrics, my hands. Here I talk with my hands.
Sure. Yeah.
But sewing is so satisfying. And then as we stopped custom sewing, because it was so labor intensive, I said, Mom, there's these manufacturers that are doing what you asked, and we have every variety of dress. So let's not make dresses anymore. It takes too much time. It's too expensive for the brides.
Yeah.
We can find anything anyone wants with everyone that we carry. So we removed all of the fabrics that were for bridal and the notions, and we put more racks in. The year that I got married in 1992, my husband built racks for the back room, and we 5 times the amount of dresses we had in the store. So
Wow. Nice.
So our little boutique has 500 wedding gowns and 500 prom dresses in that little store.
In that little, yeah. That's a lot to fit into that little store.
Yeah.
Good job.
It is. But it's fun and it's rewarding, and that's why I'm still there.
Yeah.
After I'm in my 34th year, and I love what I do.
So when you took over, did your mom stay on with you for a little while?
Yes, my mother was a very hardworking person.
Yeah.
And she worked till she was 79.
Okay.
So when I came back in 1991,
Okay.
she was in the store with me, but then she was in Provo.
Yeah.
So she'd do a little bit of both. And then she did all the advertising, the marketing, the business end, the bookkeeping, the taxes, the payroll. She was doing everything out of
lots of hats.
out of her office, which
Yeah.
is next door in her residence.
Okay.
And she was doing that clear up till the time she was 79. So even though she wasn't in the store, she was working. And I let her know, Mom, I got this. I can do this. You don't have to come out every day anymore. And
But she enjoyed it sounds like.
she loved it.
Yeah.
And she loved the people.
Sure.
And meeting the people. And to this day, it's so rewarding that I'll have a bride. It happened last week. A lady came in with her daughter, and someone else was helping her. And I was at the sewing machine working on a project and listening. And the gal chose the dress she looked just perfect in. And she was so excited. And I saw we needed to take it up a little bit on the shoulder and maybe take it in a little bit on the sides. And so I stood up and I said, there are just a few things I would recommend. And then a lady looked at me and she said, I recognize you. You helped me with my wedding dress 20 years ago.
Oh, no way. That's awesome. That's awesome.
So, yeah, my mom loved that.
Yeah.
She knew all the families in Lehi, and then we'd see the oldest daughter and the second daughter and third daughter. And now I'm helping granddaughters, brides who she helped.
Wow.
And I'm helping daughters of brides I helped. It's really fun. It's really rewarding and creatively satisfying.
Well, so talk to me about, I mean, obviously the world's changed a lot, right? In since 1960 something, right? 61, I think you said now.
Yeah.
So the world's changed a lot. How has your business kind of kept up and still obviously is still a relevant business, still doing well, right? I mean, like how because a lot of businesses haven't, a lot of businesses have gone out of business. How has yours, been able to stay alive, I guess, and continue, and in fact thrive? I mean, do well.
Well, the bridal industry is kind of a niche market.
Okay.
It's not something that there are wedding dresses in every store.
Sure.
It takes a lot of inventory.
Yeah.
So that because you have so many different people, different personalities, different look, different body style, different coloring. So my mom really figured it out. There needs to be something that will look good on this girl and that girl and that girl, so that we had a nice variety. And then ordering from the best manufacturers that there are. So Maggie Sotero, Allure Bridals, Casablanca Bridals, Rachel Allen, Monica Loretti. These are all manufacturers that we order from. And they're at the top. They make the prettiest dresses. And more than them just being beautiful aesthetically is that they're made right. every dress has a seam allowance. And if there's a company that doesn't have a seam allowance and just surges it off to 3/8 inch, we don't want to order those gowns. We order the nicer quality gowns so they can be let out or taken in. They can be altered and adjusted. So I think that with my mother's wisdom, having really, she was making gowns when she was in high school for her sisters and her friends.
Yeah.
She understood design and the technique of putting a gown together, so she could tell if it was a really great gown. So with her eye and her training, myself and my younger sister, we had, my younger sister is 11 years younger, and so we had different age and a variety of likes and desires.
Sure.
So when we do our buying, we have a little bit of everything. Some bridal gowns, you'll walk in and everything looks the same. And we don't want that because we know that every person is not the same.
Sure.
So this is how she did it, by having the best and having a nice variety. And she really understood what people needed. So we've seen a lot of businesses. It's a belabored question.
Oh, no, you're
answer
good. Yeah.
to your question.
Yeah, you're good.
I have seen, my mother had seen a lot of businesses open and close, but in her day, in the late 60s, early 70s, there weren't as many bridal shops.
Okay.
And our area has grown a great deal, and there are more bridal shops, but it seems like people want to come to the Utah area, the wedding mecca of the universe.
Sure, yes.
And so she had seen a lot of businesses come and go, and I have seen a lot that come and go. They think that they can do this. There's a lot of work, and I'm really pleased to say that I believe we are the longest running bridal shop in the state of Utah. I have a sales representative for one of my manufacturers, and he told me that of like 95 accounts that he has, those are stores in the western United States.
Okay.
There are only 2 that are owned by the original owners.
Oh, wow.
And we are one of those 2 because it's come right down through the family.
Yeah.
So it's rewarding.
Yeah, you're quite part of a legacy. I mean, how does that, it's got to make you feel good that, you're continuing this tradition down and it's continuing to do well.
Yeah, I actually love it.
I can tell. And that's good. That's what makes it less like work then, right? Is because you enjoy it.
Well, if you do what you enjoy, you don't work.
Yeah.
So I love it. There's deadlines. There is some stress with that, and it can be an emotional time for people, highs and lows.
Sure.
And so I had somebody tell me, you're like my therapist. I come in here and just talk and talk. And I said, well, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
We talk everything out, and you feel good about what's happening. Your mom feels good about what's happening. And my mother said, being in the bridal business is a great time. And with dresses, moreover, different from a reception hall or doing catering or something. She said, you get to see people come together to start families. Yeah. And that's what's rewarding.
Yeah.
And so I understand now why she enjoyed it so much.
Sure.
Both the beauty of the fabrics and the notions that are on the gowns, but also the beauty of the people and how it comes together. And there's a little bit of magic when a girl tries on the dress that just makes her light up. Yeah. We had a pretty gal in yesterday who put on several different dresses, different looks, and then she put on this, it was a light chantilly lace and had the softest, prettiest train. Yeah. And she just said, Mom, I love it. It's rewarding. It's fun.
Yes. Yeah. It's fun. So what does it look like for somebody, what does that bridal experience look like for somebody? So if they come into your store, how do you, what's the process, because like you said, it's different than any other dress they'll ever own, kind of thing. But so tell me the process, somebody walks in your store, what happens?
So bridal is different than, like you said, than any other thing you own. I was at the store the other day. I saw some pants that are cute, and I didn't even try them on.
Yeah.
and I took them home, put them on last night. I'm like, yeah, I like them. It's good.
It's good. Yeah. Yeah.
But with bridal, it's not something you can do yourself necessarily. People think they can buy off pictures, and sometimes, rarely, maybe 1% will get that right. That, oh, that's exactly what I want, and I'll order that. But you really have to put a dress on. So we greet people. We ask them what kind of thing what kind of style, what kind of dress, what's their occasion, what do they see, a long train, do they want something frilly and ruffly, do they want lace, do they want something smooth and satiny, and they'll let us know what they're kind of thinking about. And then we have a unique system in our store, and I'm not going to share it because
That's fine.
Because
Making people come in then.
Yeah, in our system. Well, I don't need other bridal shops copying me.
Hey, that's okay. I'm good with that.
It's a tried and true system that helps the bride eliminate dresses that she's not interested in putting on, and find the top 5 or 6 or 10 that she wants to put on. And then we pull those for her. She puts them on, and we like to carry the train, keep the dress nice and clean, put her at the mirror, and just let her take time to look at herself and feel the dress on her body, and is it comfortable? And then we'll try on another dress and compare the dresses. There is a fun little moment at the end when somebody says, I love this. And there are people who watch television that say yes to the dress. And, and that is television, and it is dramatized, and it is scripted. So I watched 10 minutes, and I said, I don't want to watch this. It's not a real thing. It's not happening thing. But we do have the little sign that says, are you saying yes to the dress? And girls do like to chuckle and clap and hold the sign and take a picture. So once they choose their dress, we put a veil on, let them see different veils. We have headpieces, we have jewelry, so they can see how they can dress everything up. And some dresses don't need any of that. Some brides don't need any of it. And we just want everybody to look like themselves and to feel comfortable and beautiful. So it is fun. It is rewarding.
That's great. Well, tell me, so you've been doing this for a long time. I'll put you on the spot, but any stories stand out to you as far as like, that was a, particularly memorable experience with that bride or something like that, and I don't know if you get to, be part of the after stuff too, right? I mean, obviously they come and they dress, you don't really know how the wedding goes. You're not in that, part most of the time, but anything stand out to you as far as, particularly memorable experience?
I start thinking of a whole bunch of beautiful brides when you say that. It's like, what is her story? What's her story? And I could share so many. I wish I had written them down over the years because we get so many beautiful stories. But just recently, there are 2 or 3 that are coming to mind. But there was a cute lady who came in, trying to remember the state she was from. We help people from
all over,
everywhere, all over. I had a family up in Oregon who their daughter was here at BYU, and she found us, and she loved her experience in her dress. And then a year later, there was another girl with the same last name from Oregon, and they're sisters. And then the 3rd daughter came, and the 4th daughter came, and it was so fun helping them. And then people who lived in their community, she would send to us. So we have people drive from everywhere. But this gal that I'll just mention really quickly, she was from Switzerland, and she's from here, but she's been living 35 years. She's been in Europe.
Okay.
Yes.
Long time.
Her mother came in when they picked up the dress, and she said, I lost my daughter to Europe 35 years ago, and she'll never come back. So she was 50 years old, and it was her first wedding. And she had come into our Provo location and found a dress that just suited her. She looked just so elegant in it. And she was only going to be here a couple days. So they called over from Provo and said, Julie, can you alter this? And I said, what does she need? Send her over. She came over. I fit her. she had things she had to take care of and couldn't meet me again until about 7 o'clock that night. So I fit her. I worked on her hem. I worked on her adjusting her shoulders. And then she came back at 7 and it looked so wonderful. And she said that she didn't know if she would be able to find a dress that was amazing on her, but
Sure.
she was incredibly happy, and it was fun. And she was flying home to Switzerland the next day, and she gets married in August, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So she had everything done and ready and fit beautifully. She was a sweet girl, but I have so many that pop into my mind.
Yeah.
Great people to work with over the years.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Talk to me. Let's go back to Lehi a little bit. What role do you think the community of Lehi has played in the success of your business?
Yes, they have been so supportive, and we appreciate it so much. I think about different families who I knew when I was in high school, and because I was away and doing college and adventures, I didn't see the oldest daughter get married, or I wasn't there for that one.
Sure.
And then they would come in with the younger sisters, and so just the family, we have a one-time customer, really. We're not like the grocery store or a restaurant where people come multiple times.
Sure.
And so every customer is important and special to us. So we have had the experience of new people who've moved to our area. And there was a gal who lived out in Saratoga Springs, and she said that she had driven down Main Street and happened to see our store, so she wanted to happen in, and she did, and she was so happy, and she bought her dress, and I asked her where she was from, and she said Kentucky, and I said, well, welcome to Utah, welcome to Utah County, welcome to Lehi. You're in a special place.
Yeah.
And she said that she felt that way, and I asked her, why did you move here? She said that she had come and had driven through different communities, all the way from south in Payson. And when she drove down Lehi's Main Street, she said, this just felt like home. She said, this just feels warm and wonderful here, and everyone she had met here was so kind. And she said, I saw your little shop, and I knew it was just a little shop, but I hoped there'd be something great in here, and obviously there was, and she got her dress. One other little story, there's a lady that I worked with for 26 years. Her name is Linda, and her granddaughter, it was her turn to get married, and she showed her mother, who we had helped her mom, her grandma helped her mom with her dress, and she said, Mom, I need to go to New York to get my dress. And she said, what are you looking at? And she said, well, there's this Maggie Sotero, and they sell it in New York. She said, just a minute, let me call Grandma. So she calls Grandma, and she says, Mom, do they carry Maggie Sotero down on Main Street? And she said, of course, let me call Julie. We'll get you in for an appointment. So she called, and I said, what dress is she interested in? And she told me. And I said, well, lucky day, I have that here on my rack.
Oh, wow.
So you don't have to go to New York for a Maggie Sotero. You can come right to Lehi. We have the best of the best.
That's awesome. Well, so let's stay on that topic a little bit. So as far as, trends in fashion and stuff like that, anything, what surprised you about the changes in fashion, or, I guess, has any bridal trends surprised you? Some of the different things that are changing in the bridal industry, or is nothing changed? Is it all the same that it's been for 50 years? So,
well, this is fun that you would ask this. I was thinking about this just the other day. When my mother and I would go, and my sister would go to bridal market. Yeah, that's where the store owners go to purchase, to look at the styles and say, I want to purchase one of these, or two of these, or 10 of these in this color and these sizes. We place our order, and it takes 6 months for those dresses to be produced and come into the store.
Yeah, it's not something overnight you're getting.
No. So what happened was, I was sitting there at the table, and I remember my mother going, oh, yes, I remember this. And I said, what are you talking about, Mom? And she said, I remember the last time the dresses looked like this and had that sleeve. Oh. And I said, how long ago was that? And she said, 20 years. It takes about 20 years for a trend, for something to trend through, for a fashion element to come through again. So I'm going to say to you, bows are back.
Oh,
And
okay.
this is something that I saw and that I wore in 1992. I wanted a big, pretty bow on the back of my dress. And they were gone for many years, and they are back. Girls are wanting those pretty bows on the back of their dress. I have a friend that I went to high school with, this bride's father. So he's my friend. And the mother, I knew them as we were having small children. We lived in the neighborhood together. Well, it's been a year. I think her wedding was in September. So February, not last, but the February before, she came in and she brought in a picture and she said, Julie, I love this look. And it was great, big, beautiful bow on the back of the dress at the bottom of the zipper at the waist. And her name's Cody. And I said, oh, Cody, that's a pretty thing. Let's put a bow on a dress for you. So she tried on dresses, and there was a dress that was almost perfect, but she wanted a longer lacy sleeve. And then I took some fabric and kind of bunched it together and said, is this about the size of a bow you want on the back of your dress? She said yes. So then I illustrated it, took measurements, contacted our manufacturer and said, will you make this dress with these different sleeves and a pretty bow with streamers on it? So she looked magnificent in her dress. And things cycle. They come and they go. So pleats are back in that we haven't seen for a while. Fabrications changed. So we would have, in the 70s, there was French Kiana, chiffon, drapey, smooth fabrics, not real full dresses. And then in the 80s, there were more full dresses and more satins. And then I remember in the 90s, satin that had embroidery on it, very difficult to recreate. Embroidery machines were not available to the general public. Now there are embroidery machines, but embroidered fabrics are not really the thing. So right now our trend has been to simple, nothing on it again, kind of like back to the 1970s. That's the trend a little bit, but there will always be brides in lace. Lace is so beautiful, and it's easier to alter and fit on people. So there are those things that come and go. Square necks were really popular for a while, and then nobody wanted the square neck. And now square necks are back.
Oh, they're back. Okay, sure.
So, but really it's about every girl, what she looks the prettiest in. Square neck, round neck, V-neck, whatever she's the prettiest in is what she should wear.
So you mentioned, kind of altering, like that one that hey, can you were talking about the manufacturer and changing the sleeves and doing things like that. How often does that happen? And is that, or most off the rack, I guess, kind of thing where it's like, hey, the dress is already designed perfectly. It's great. Give me the data on that, I guess.
Okay. So we are unique because we don't do samples. Other stores will have a whole bunch of dresses in size 10 and 12, and they put those on the size 2 girl and the size 20 girl, and then they reorder it. So we have so many dresses on our floor that my size 2 can come in and try multiple dresses, and if she sees what she loves, she can purchase that dress because they're not tried on by everyone. They're tried on fewer times. If somebody says, I really like this dress, but I want a different sleeve, then we can order it. Okay. Yeah. Bows and things like that, I can even make them here. Okay. But if they're doing a different sleeve, or say they try on a dress that has a full skirt, but they want it as a straight skirt, we have a few manufacturers that will customize a dress like that. It's unique. It takes longer. Most dresses take 3 to 5 months to order. So then it's 5 to 6 months to get it because they have to pull that pattern out of the production cycle and make it different and unique. Okay. And so it can take longer to do that. But
do a lot of brides have, thinking sometimes it's short engagements, right? So sometimes, it's like, we don't have that much time to get that dress.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Our population in our area has shorter engagements than anywhere in the United States
I'm sure. Yes.
or the world.
Yeah.
And so that's why we stock dresses in every size so that a bride can come in. I will tell you, in 2020, that was an interesting year.
Sure.
for the bridal industry, and there were manufacturers who left the marketplace, and there were stores who left the marketplace. So because I had dresses in the store on the floor, when brides came in, I had a few instances where they said, I had a bride come in on Monday, and she said, my wedding is Friday. Can you help me out? Yes. Put a dress on.
Wow.
We didn't have as many people walking in the door because people were timid. People were sequestered. People were at home.
Yeah.
And so I had the time to alter those dresses quickly. And there were small, intimate weddings.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. They were big back then. Yeah.
People, 12 people.
Yeah.
How many people could you have?
Sure.
Were allowed. And so there were a lot of short engagements, if you want to call those engagements a 1 week preparation time for the wedding, 2 weeks. So generally in our area, 3 months is the magic number.
Okay.
It's 3 months to the wedding. Now, to take into account, you're wanting to do pictures a month ahead.
Yeah.
And we're going to alter it. So really, we're going to do your first fitting the day you buy the dress.
Yeah. Yeah, you would need it sooner because you're trying to do pictures. Yeah, good call. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was trying. Well, we got engaged in January and married in May 1st though. So, it would have been April, but school and stuff like that, right? So yeah, we would have we would have been another statistic for you, So.
And that is really common that people get engaged through the holidays and get married in the spring and summer.
Yeah, makes sense. You got school because oftentimes you're young, and so that's where school professors weren't about to not let me take finals and stuff,
Right.
So.
You couldn't just take a week off whenever you wanted.
Yeah, no.
So it's at the school break. Yep, in April. And our busy season really is January through August and into September now.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, and those September brides who are shopping are getting married in the winter or even as early as spring. We do have a lot of people who plan ahead, even by as far as a year.
Oh, okay.
But the greater majority are right about 3 months to their wedding.
Do you ever get people renting dresses? Is that a thing?
Well, we used to rent, and there are some big problems with renting.
Sure.
The dresses get a little dirtier because they don't own them.
Yeah.
Part of that ownership, you take better care of the dress. So we did rent. We rented, and then I said, I can't do this. That dress never even came back.
Oh.
I'd have to call and go pick up dresses from houses.
Oh, no. Okay.
And then here's the other thing. If somebody is planning ahead 4 or 5 months, and they pick the dress that they're going to wear in 5 months, how many times is that going to be worn before she gets to wear it? And is it going to look like it was worn 3, 4, 5, 6 times?
Sure.
And the lace is getting ratty, and then the complication of altering it. It needs to be taken in for her, let out for her, taken in for her. And so it's just not fresh. And you're getting married once, you might as well have something beautiful and wonderful. Yeah. There is something you can do, too, with those dresses. It's quite rewarding for me. You buy your dress, you wear it for your wedding, then the bride cuts off the train, turns that into a baby blessing dress.
Oh, love that.
My daughter called and said that her daughter, so my granddaughter's was getting baptized in the LDS faith at 8, and we took that dress and took it up at the shoulders, pleated out the bust line, took in the sides, cut it off so it was a longer dress, and so her daughter wore her wedding dress as her baptism dress.
Well, that's great.
And all of that fabric is still inside. I don't cut it off. So when she is 16, we can let that all out. She can dye it, color it,
and
pink or purple, and it's
like
a prom dress.
Oh, wow. Look at you go.
Or you keep that dress and wear it as the getaway dress.
Yeah.
So she has her own wedding dress for her wedding day, wears her mom's dress short as a getaway dress.
Oh, I love that.
So there's something you can do with dresses that make it just more special.
Yeah. Now, is that something that is that a service you guys offer? Or is that, obviously, in your family, because you're super expert at that stuff, I can see that.
Well,
I'm thinking, not every family is obviously as talented on the seamstress side as you.
Well, thank you. I don't advertise that.
Okay.
I do that. However, if my calendar is open and it's slower and I have time, I love doing it.
Okay.
Where I don't sew all the time,
Yeah.
it's fun to do a project that's like that.
Okay, sure. Okay.
And there was a gal who came in, and I got to remember, she's probably been married 42 years now.
Mm-hmm.
She called and said that her daughter, we wanted to cut the dress into a baby blessing dress. So we did that. And then I got another call back from her, and she said, that baby that was blessed is now getting baptized, and we want to make the upper dress for her. And so I have pictures of this little girl in her grandma's wedding gown. So it is fun to see these, to see them used and differently.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Tell me, as far as running a business goes, is there something that maybe we wouldn't know that goes into running this kind of business, a bridal business? Is there something that, most people wouldn't think about when they think, oh, I didn't realize, or is it like running any other business, I guess, in that regard?
Well, I would say time. It takes time to get a dress. It takes time to get it made. It takes time to get it altered. I think that we live in an environment, a period of time that everything is so fast. And there's such a thing, it's called fast fashion. Cheap fabrics made into clothing that people purchase, wear once or twice and throw away.
Sure.
And our landfills are 80% textiles, which I think is alarming. But it is different because higher quality goods you can wear longer. And if it's a classic style, it can be worn longer. So with bridal, everything takes time to get it. And I told one lady, I said, I wish this was like fast food, like fast fashion, that it could just be, you think of it and have it at home. But it takes time to order in the whole process. And I have to think, I've worked in the food industry trying to think about, it's just, I would say it is about time. Everything takes a little longer. So it is good for people to plan ahead. As soon as they get engaged, I recommend that they come try on dresses and pick a dress, because then they don't have as much stress. They can have it at home sooner. So the event is less stressful.
Sure. Hey, well, this has been very enjoyable, getting to know you, getting to know the business. I can tell you love what you do, which is great.
Thank you.
And, good part of Lehi and stuff like that, right? And so, and you're, and you own the lot next to you too, that I guess the parking lot kind of thing there too? Is that your guys' too?
Yes.
Okay.
We had been neighbors with Doc Larson. He's known as Doc, Brent Larson. And when he retired and he sold the building, and that gentleman came to us and he said, I'd like to buy you and build something big on all this property. And my mom said, I sell dresses here.
I'm good here.
So she said, no, it's not for sale. And he said, well, would you like to buy the corner? And she said, yes.
Okay.
So we did. We bought the corner, and on Saturdays, we fill that up with our brides and their guests, and we have a food truck there. We like having a food truck there. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's terribly easy to go grab lunch there too.
Sure. I'm sure it is.
And it's good. But yes, we do.
Yeah.
We own the corner there and the business, and our home is still a residence. So
it is still a residence. Okay.
It's still a residence, and we have some storage there and an office there, and cleaning facilities. We clean bridal gowns as well.
Okay.
So that's who we are, and we're proud to be a family business of multiple generations here in Lehi, and there are a lot of multiple generation businesses here. So we're grateful to the community for supporting us, and the original Lehi people and families, and the new people who are finding us, who've come from all over the U.S. and even out of the country to live in Utah Valley.
Love that. Here's my last question to you.
Okay.
So your mom passed away. How do you think she would view the business today? Do you think she's happy with how it's going, where it's at, what you guys are doing? Tell me what your mom might think of the business.
I think she's terribly happy.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
She would come out in those days that she was stuck in her office next door. She would come out, and there would be people there who she knew, and she'd have pleasant conversations. And
Yeah.
she loved the community. She loved fashion. She loved beauty. She loved treating everyone well. We treat everyone as if they're part of the family.
Mm-hmm.
And I have had twice this last week people come in and say, I love being in here. It feels like I'm coming home.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we hope
What a
that,
compliment to you.
oh,
you know,
yeah.
so.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like to go home when I go to work.
I love that. I love that. Well, hey, thank you for continuing to run this business and, you know, have it be successful. I'm very happy and for you. I'm glad. I think my wife even came here when we got married a long time ago. I don't know if she got her dress here or not. I frankly wasn't really involved on that part, so I'd have to ask her. But I know she did come by, I think, actually, for you. So, and I know we've come by other times. So you're doing good.
Thank you.
Good business and stuff.
Thank you. And we hope to help your children.
Yeah,
and...
I got some daughters that are getting close to that age, so that's a little weird for me. But
yes,
but that is the facts. Is they will be doing this soon. So.
They will, and you will be okay. I promise you.
Well, good. Well, good. Yeah, I got a daughter on a mission right now, so she'll be back, and my guess is she won't last long. So, but we'll see. So
it's great.
Anyhow.
It's great. It'll be fun to see you in the store.
Yes.
And dads are good, and welcome to come into the store. We love having dads in the store.
Do you get a lot of dads in the store?
Maybe only 10 or 15%.
Yeah, okay. That's what I was thinking.
We have a cute girl, though, who was in yesterday, and she put a dress on hold, and I said, bring your dad so he can see you.
Sure.
Some people like to have that the first to look moment with dad and kind of surprise him. And, and
I could see that.
it's really nice to save it for the day, let the emotion happen there, or like on camera. Now everybody's wanting to capture emotion on camera, but I have had so many sweet instances of dads welling up or tearing up and hugging their daughter, and it's that realization that that little baby is now grown up to be a woman, and you did a good job, and you're there to love and support her and send her on her way. Yeah. So, well, dads are welcome.
That's good to know. This has been good. This is obviously bridal dresses is not something that I've spent a lot of time in my life on, and so it's been good to learn about what you're doing and stuff. So I enjoy it. Anyhow, it's been great. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me in today.
Yeah.
It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you for joining us on Roots and Branches of Lehi. I hope today's story helped you feel a little more connected to the people who make up our community. Remember, every person here has a unique story, and together, we're what makes Lehi feel like home. If you know someone who would be a great fit for this podcast, please fill out the form in the show notes so we can reach out and schedule an interview. We'd love to hear from you. A big thank you to our sponsors, the Work Harding Home Mortgage Team and Play Harding Nightly Vacation Rentals, for supporting this show and helping us bring our community closer together. Until next time, keep growing those roots and reaching out to your branches. Take care.